So I get up and I go, hey man, I overheard your conversation. I was like, I think there's a Staples nearby and they definitely sell they sell Kindle products there. And he goes, oh wow, look at that. A nosy New Yorker getting in other people's business.
Whoa! He said that?
Yes. Welcome back to Oops the Podcast.
All right, lots to unpack here.
I got something for you.
Please. Julio, I don't know where you came up with that idea.
Dude, this guy was a huge turkey.
What is this, Japan? Which is one of the reasons why I hadn't told you about it.
No, and I also just assumed you were saving it for the pod if you were going to tell me.
Yeah.
Which, of course, you were.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, welcome back to Oops the Podcast. Julio, Francis, Chris, and Ryan. Francis, how are you?
Good to see you, amigo.
Good to see you too. Dude, I don't think I've given you the brief yet on this hometown show I did.
Oh, golly.
It's a
yes.
pretty fun, interesting tale.
Come on, lay it on us.
Okay, so I think you're going to like this. So anyway, we were supposed to leave a little earlier to just like settle in and this and that. And I had some stuff come up, like work stuff, where we kind of got a little bit of a late start, but that ended up being good because anticipation for things that are potentially stressful or difficult is not helpful. So if you happen to be really busy leading up to something like that, it can actually help you, I find. Now, this show was stressful for a couple of reasons. So first of all, it was literally happening in my hometown. Free show, but ticketed. City paid for it. Shout out to Yasmin for organizing it. Ended up being really awesome. But anyway, I knew that the show was outside. So I'm like, okay, that's hard to begin with.
That's tough.
I know the place where the show was happening, but I had no idea how they would set it up. And a thing that is set up for comedy that doesn't exist for comedy to begin with is always potentially problematic and difficult, right? Mm-hmm. So I was a little worried about that. Now, as we drove to my parents' house first, I caught a glimpse of the venue to the left. And I was like, oh, cool. But it was like a little intimidating. It was like an elevated stage, something you might see at like a fair. And then there was sort of like a parking lot. And I guess people had been told to bring chairs type of thing. Right. Or a blanket or whatever. So anyway, we do the show and dude, it was so interesting. So I'm up there and, probably a couple hundred people there. Great turnout. Everybody brought their sort of like folding chairs like they were going to a soccer game. It's pretty cute. People had blankets. It wasn't cold, but it was almost cold. It was like 51 degrees, I want to say.
What? That's cold?
It's getting there. But it's not like cold. You know what I mean? Like I wore a hoodie, it was fine, right? Outdoor, now it's next to this park where there's these people doing like interpretive dance. Oh. And you just hear boom, 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 and people sort of like aimlessly moving with the music with their head tilted back. Like there's that happening. There's also just like random bogeys walking around. I hear a woman just yelling, "It smells like weed!" Just screaming that, like as we're approaching the venue. I'm like, oh my God. And it's next to the highway. So the occasional truck would go by and actually make an impact in the show. So it's like, and I'm on stage and I wasn't nervous necessarily because I just wasn't thinking about it, right? But I'm up there, I'm surveying the crowd and I just see a lot of like parents of friends, which was so cool. Like the friends weren't even there a lot of the time. Right. But their parents came. I thought that was so nice. And I thought that the show went really well, to be honest. And I thought that I was able to balance sort of doing my actual shit to show that I can do it with the occasional anecdote about a person in the crowd without it cheapening the performance.
Of course.
Which I think is a hard thing to do, potentially.
Absolutely.
But I saw one of my friend's stepdads and I was like, oh man, like I have such a funny story about this guy, about when I got scared by the X-Files and like came into their bedroom at night crying. And the dad and the stepdad came downstairs to like hang out with me, gave me a Coca-Cola, like, hung out. Anyway, like that's
a tough thing to give a child trying to get back to sleep, but
but like, he's like, here you go. Like, that is funny. But I do recall it being soothing. And anyway, I was able to like throw some jokes in there, whatever. And it ended up being a really nice, warm environment. And I felt really supported in a way where it's like, I'm not doing the Hartford Civic Center. I don't have delusions of grandeur of where I am at in my career. Like, yes, I know that, things have progressed for me nicely, and I'm so grateful that I have this career. But I also you could have easily judged me for this.
Oh.
No, I'm just saying, it could be a thing where there's ways where human thinking could have made this a non-warm environment. If I'm up there being like, oh, I'm embarrassed that I'm not doing this huge venue, or they're like, oh, he's not doing, there was none of any of that. It was, and it was sick. I'm not trying to undermine it, but 200 people, it wasn't 2,000 people.
Wow.
200 people came.
200 people.
It's still a lot, bro. And they
It's
brought their own shit.
a ton of people for an outdoor show.
Ton of people. It was sick. It felt really great. And I was hearing people, some Oops people DM me being like, I think I was sitting behind your dad's students, because I heard them being like, yo, dude, you didn't go say hi to the G-Man yet? I guess they call him the G-Man. Pay respects to the G-Man.
The G-Man.
I think that the Wesleyan lacrosse team was in the house.
What?
As part of their sort of spring whatever kickoff weekend. They're big fans of you too.
Oh, that's nice.
Shout out to the West Lac squad.
Yeah, cool.
Ryan was there.
Thanks, Ryan.
Ryan, did you have any thoughts about the vibe?
No, the shows went great.
Yeah, the show's good.
Someone DM'd me a video of Ryan shooting the show.
Oh, really?
And said, "Facts with Ryan in the wild."
Nice.
Yeah.
I love that.
But I think it was when your opener was on.
Okay, yeah.
Because you later told me that he went down into the crowd.
Yeah.
And this guy performing was on the pavement with a bunch of people sitting around looking up at him.
Yeah.
And I thought, boy, did Julio not use that huge stage behind him?
Shout out to Rob, who did a great job. I get the impulse to go on the ground and connect and whatever, but I remember thinking in my head, I was like, oh no, now if I go on the stage, do I look like a piker? But this was handled for me perfectly. And
by the way, are you aware that you are in many ways as neurotic as I am?
Yes.
Good. I think that's something we subconsciously bond over.
So I also think it's funny because, and correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I think that you think and that people think that I'm much more laid back.
Yes, that's correct.
And then sometimes when you see that I'm in fact not, now I am in many ways. But,
most of the time you are.
But of course I have these extremely specific neurotic thoughts all the time.
Yeah.
Overanalyzing, whatever.
Yeah.
But so anyway, I'm like, fuck, this is gonna be awkward. And at one point I hear the host be like, is Julio here? Yasmin, the event organizer, was like, yeah, he's here. And he goes, is he going to come down here or is he going to be on the stage? And she goes, on the stage.
Wait, this is during the guy's set?
Yeah. It wasn't weird. It wasn't. He just there wasn't enough time to debrief on all that. So it was just figuring it out in real time. He did 25, 30 minutes to kick it off. He was a pro. So he got back up on the stage. And then I was like, oh, that is completely handled for me. I don't have to worry about it.
Oh, nice.
But I thought the show was great. The guy whose soda refrigerator I talked about a couple of episodes, parents were there. They appreciated the shout out to the Torellis. And yeah, dude, what a fun, awesome thing.
Cool.
Really
that's
great.
Cool. Did you feel like the hometown hero?
I didn't feel like the hometown hero, but I felt like a rapper on some shit where I was like, I want to put on for my city, bro.
That sounds like hometown hero to me.
It made me just want to rep where I'm from. You know what I mean? It made me proud of where I was from.
Yeah.
It made me feel really just really cared for in this really nice way that can really help in a job like this where you feel alone a lot of the time and sometimes things can be hard. So I appreciate everybody who came. It was one of the most special shows I've ever done.
I'm so glad to hear that, man. Sometimes there's a part of me that gets a little sad because I love Maine, where I grew up passionately.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a humongous part of my identity. One of my favorite things ever was when I was at the Jake Reed Graph-Tex Blue Chip Camp at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County.
Does blue chip mean promising people?
This camp at that time was the top showcase camp in the country for lacrosse.
Got it.
It was a big deal to get
Scouts
invited.
would come chewing on sunflower seeds.
I mean, yeah, they'd be sitting in their folding chairs with their clipboard.
With their little piece of...
And they had I remember they had a sort of a I don't know, a dossier, a big binder that had every player at the camp. So there were only 109 or 110 players that got invited.
Invite only?
Yeah, you had to be invited by a Division I coach.
Wow.
And
Who invited you?
I think Tambroni at Cornell, who
Wow.
then went to Penn State. But I think he's the one who got me in. And I didn't ask him to. He just saw me at a camp the summer before and said this kid needs to go. So it's the top 110 players in the country. And you go your junior summer, and I think it's the last week of June. This was the case then. And you play just games. There's no drills or practice.
How long is it again?
4 days.
Okay. And you play 4 games?
I think you play like either 2 or 3 games a day.
Jesus.
Yeah, and it's hot.
Are the rules slightly different in a situation like that?
No.
You're still kicking the shit out of each other?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but it's a little different where none of you have played together before. So you don't have set plays.
Yeah.
And you don't really have coordinated offense or defense or anything.
That's hard, dude.
Everybody is kind of playing to show off. And
it's like the Wild 'N Out callbacks.
But you're also aware that if you're just a ball hog the whole time, that would be a bad look.
Yeah.
And so people pass, and our team was actually very good. We had an attackman named Billy Bitter.
That's a sick name.
I think he was from Vermont, but he'd gone to boarding school because he'd broken his leg in a snowmobiling accident. Or a snowboarding accident. So people hadn't really seen him. And because he'd missed this important recruiting year due to his injury, and now he was fully healthy.
Oh, he's one of those diamonds in the rough.
Dude, he was the best player at the camp by far.
Wow,
by
that's sick.
Far.
That's sick.
And it was sort of his coming out party.
Nice.
And he was so much better than everyone else.
Really?
It was unbelievable.
Where did he end up playing?
UNC. And he had a decorated career.
Are they like one of the best, right?
When he was there, I think they vied for
Wow.
national championships. May have won one, frankly.
Can I ask you this? In a camp situation like this, is like being sick at passing equally impressive as other shit?
Yeah, sure is.
Like a Jokic situation?
Yeah. It would be if you were a very good feeder as an attackman and racked up a ton of incredible assists, you would be a highly desired recruit.
Is doing this move behind your head impressive, or does everybody do that?
Or if you don't fuck it up.
Okay.
If you don't do it, and if you do it and it's not, and you don't pull it off, you lose the ball, or you're just way off, then you're kind of seen as a piker, as you would say.
Is it the equivalent of a behind the back pass in basketball?
Yeah.
Okay.
Although I will say that in lacrosse, there is a lot of utility to it at times.
You can shoot that way too, right?
Yeah, if you have an acute angle on the goal, and it can actually improve your angle on the goal.
Oh, that's cool.
Because if I'm coming at the goal righty and it's the angle is getting more extreme,
right.
By going behind my back, I have a better angle than if I were to try to shoot over my.
That makes sense. That's
anyway,
cool.
to be from Maine and to be invited to this camp was really a big deal for me because Maine is not a huge hotbed of lacrosse, and
I mean, of anything. There's just not enough people.
We're too remote, and this was a national stage. Every Division I head coach was there. They weren't sending their assistants to go scout this camp.
Oh, wow.
And it was really cool, and I played really well.
Sick.
And I was a big guy. I was one of the taller guys there, and I was fast. And so while my skills weren't as maybe sharp as some of the kids from Boys Latin, or
you had the meat, didn't matter.
I think a lot of coaches saw me as a raw product.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
To the degree that this was cool. Have I ever told you these stories?
No, bro. This is like Embiid. You didn't even start playing until late in the game, but they saw it.
And what happened was cool. That was the last week of June. July 1st, at least, again, things may have changed, but
you're 16?
No, I think I was 17.
Okay.
Because I was going into my senior year.
Gotcha.
But July 1st rolls around. That is the deadline, or the day where, up until then, the NCAA prohibits coaches in lacrosse, at least, from phone calling you.
Gotcha.
they can send you mailing and they can send you letters and they can send you things like that, but they can't call you directly. And I'd been recruited a bit to that point, mostly by the Ivy League schools. But on July 1st was the day where I thought, oh, maybe I'll start hearing from other schools. And I just wanted to go to Harvard. I already knew because they'd been recruiting me. I was like, if I can get in there, I'd like to go there.
Yeah, sick.
But on
100%.
July 1st, my mom woke me up in bed, 8 in the morning. And she said it's Coach Petrumala on the phone, who was the head coach at Johns Hopkins.
Oh, wow.
And they had won the national championship the year before.
Wow.
And they were the best team in the country. And I was like, what?
Also, an incredible school academically.
100%. And he called me, and I, tried to shake the sleep out of my voice and sat up in bed. And he said, we want you, we can offer you a scholarship. And he wanted to convert me to defense, though. He wanted me to become a defender.
Did then that end up happening anyway?
No.
Oh, I thought
I was a midfielder, and he was a major, one of the best defensemen ever in the history of collegiate lacrosse. And I think he saw that with my size and speed, that potentially he could sort of mold me into a defenseman that would be more effective than the midfielder that I was. And it didn't bother me, but I didn't want to play defense. And he was like, wanted to recruit me under the condition that I would theoretically switch positions, which I wasn't that thrilled about. But
good place to be in. You know what I mean? I've always
Yeah.
thought that, like, I was thinking about this the other day because there was I was watching the Bo Jackson documentary, which again, because
Yeah.
I was telling Hillary about Bo Jackson. She was like, what?
Mhm.
I was like, yeah, that was the thing. She goes, and I was so excited to watch it with her because she didn't
Mm.
know about it. To like see someone watch him be Bo Jackson
Yeah.
for the first time was sick. But anyway, that happened to him. Like, he got recruited by Alabama and they were like, you're not going to play your first 2 years. So like, being in a place where you can turn down Alabama because you're not getting what you want is a good sign for you.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I guess that's true. I hadn't really seen it. I was overwhelmed by all of it. I was 17 years old. I didn't know.
Did you believe in it? Did you believe in yourself? Like, did you think it was going to happen, or were you like,
I thought that based on the fact that a couple of Division I coaches had already expressed a little bit of interest, and that when I went there, I didn't feel like I was totally out of my element.
Gotcha.
I actually, our team at the camp went undefeated. So our team that had just randomly been assembled was the best team at the camp. And I had, in our most challenging game, our one game that was really close, we went to overtime against another team, and I scored the game-winning
Oh,
goal,
sick.
the game-ending goal. And when that happened, I remembered thinking, oh, that might have mattered
Yeah.
a little bit.
Dude, and that, I think about that too. Like, I think about if you have a good NCAA tournament, it can change your life.
100%.
You know what I mean? In a way that is not fair, because there's so much parity. And now in the era where like guys from mid-major schools are having massive NBA careers, that wasn't happening when we were kids. You could count on your fingers the amount of players who came out of random schools. Now it's like half of the all-stars went to like random schools.
Yeah.
So like a big tournament can change your life. And in that moment for you, like, that was a moment where they're like, that guy is a guy,
Yeah. I didn't know, but I was just, all I wanted, I knew the Harvard coach was going to be there, and all I wanted was to play well enough for him to feel emboldened or encouraged to continue recruiting me. And, I knew as well that the Ivies are much more cautious about how they recruit. First of all, they can't offer athletic scholarships, so there's no real way to bind them to their promise to recruit you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd heard horror stories, especially when it came to Dartmouth, about kids who had been promised a spot. They were told, you're part of our incoming class, our recruiting class. They applied and didn't get in.
Oh, damn.
And then they were just out in the dark, because then you're
Wow.
scrambling. You've missed your early action or your early decision
Oh,
window.
shit.
Now you're just thrown into the regular pool of college applicants. Most coaches have shored up their squad, their incoming class, and you don't know if you're going to be able to get pull anywhere else at that point. And that scared me.
Yeah, that's scary.
And meanwhile, now I had Johns Hopkins, and then immediately when he got off the phone, I had Albany, Duke, Yale, Princeton.
Dude, poor Albany.
Penn.
Poor Albany being involved in those phone calls.
I know. I had Navy, the Naval Academy, which was ironic because it was the assistant there named John Tillman who recruited me, and within that, by the time the summer before I went to school, so 1 year later, they fired the head coach at Harvard and hired that guy to be our coach.
I remember you telling me that.
And now he's the coach at Maryland and arguably one of the greatest college lacrosse coaches ever.
That's crazy.
But to end this story, everybody at that camp called me Maine. What up, Maine?
Oh, that's cool.
Because I was the only kid from Maine.
Oh, wow.
That's a good.
The only kid from Maine at the camp.
But that also works. Like, what up, man?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like,
give it to Maine. Give it to Maine.
It's a play on words, sort of.
And I was so honored to be an ambassador of our state. And I had my high school helmet on, and Yarmouth, Maine, and it was just I loved that. I loved to carry the flag, to be a bannerman. Bannerman.
Yeah. It's awesome.
For the state of Maine.
Totally.
And my whole life, I've been very proud of this. And to bring it home, the reason I started on this long path of the story was that when I've gone home to perform in Maine, I cannot say that the state embraces me the way they do you.
Okay, but let me ask you this. I've performed in Connecticut a dozen times, and it's not the same as performing specifically 5 or 10 minutes from where you lived. That's the big difference.
I guess maybe
people
that's true.
come, of course.
Yeah.
But it was like my town, and it's a town where like people don't come to perform in. There's nowhere to really perform there, type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that I don't know. That's the one thing I'll say.
That could be. I don't think that I could do a show in Freeport, Maine. I mean, I don't know that if it's a big enough town for us to get people out. Portland, which is 20 minutes away, is where I've typically performed, and we do well. We get people out, but I think the problem is that Maine is not really a big part of my brand, and as much as I'd like for it to be.
So it's funny. I've felt that way about myself too, but I felt that since we've been doing this, where I'm from has become much more part of my brand.
Yeah.
Because I love talking about it.
Yeah.
And, you too. You have a lot of good.
I wish that, I'd like to live there someday. I would never pretend to have any shot at running for local politician spot or anything like that. Boy, it would be cool to get involved a little bit more in the state. And it bums me out when people from Maine tell me, I've been a fan of yours for years. I didn't even know you were from Maine. That bums me out. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, dude, yeah, like you got to get it out there, I guess. I don't know. You do talk about it kind of a lot.
I try.
That's similar to me being Julio to people, to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes it's shocking. It's like, wow, it's like you're not paying attention to my stuff the way that I'm paying attention to my stuff, and I need to remember that.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
I need volume and consistency because you're not sitting there waiting for me to put something out. You know what I mean? Well, dude, so this is funny. So tell me what you think about this. I think that I handled it perfectly, but it's still a funny scenario that's kind of unprecedented. So our plan was we were going to go to Connecticut, do the show. We're filming a vlog, which, by the way, is going to be awesome. It's going to be on the Oops channel. A lot of interacting with my dad and just talking about all this stuff going and performing at home. My dad, by the way, insisted on acting out the Ninja Turtles suitcases bit. I was like, you really think that's funny? He's like, yeah. And then he pulled 2 Ninja Turtle suitcases down from the attic, which I guess I knew we maybe had at one point, but didn't realize we still had, and then acted it out. And may or may not have been wearing a raccoon hat while doing it, dude. Insane. So Ryan and I got a lot of good stuff. So anyway, I felt like we sort of had it in the bag. The next day we were going to go to this restaurant. and film some more stuff. But I got a thing for a commercial, like whatever. I sort of had to go back. Now, the plan had been that we were going to stay over. I was going to stay at my parents' house. Ryan and Zach were going to stay in hotels, and then we'd go back in the afternoon. So Hillary, one of her best friends in the world, was in the city for this engagement party that I went to Saturday night. And the plan was she was going to stay at our apartment. Okay? So they were going to sleep in our bed together. Great.
She and her friend.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
At 9:30 p.m.,
Does that bother you?
No.
Okay.
9:30. Didn't even ask her to wash the sheets after. I'd find a little piece of her hair. I love this girl. I don't give. Even if I didn't, I don't think I would give a shit.
Okay. That makes one of us.
But yeah, I knew. Yeah.
We know.
But in general, I would say that a man would obviously weird me out. Obviously, with my girl in the bed.
Yeah.
But even without her in the bed,
Yeah.
a man sleeping in the bed, I'd wash the sheets.
Got it.
Girl, don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever.
Sorry, keep going.
Positive sexism.
Yeah.
So, so 10 p.m., 9:30 p.m., 10 p.m., I pulled the Audible. I'm like, I'm coming back to the city. But I realize that that girl is now staying in my bed. So I got a hotel in the city and stayed in it.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't tell the girl, obviously. I told Hillary, but I didn't tell the girl because we don't want her to feel bad.
Oh
so
my
she doesn't know still.
God.
She would be horrified. I'm not sleeping on my own couch, dude. It's just weird. So got a hotel in fucking Times Square, stayed there for the night. It was insane. Went home the next day.
What?
That's crazy, right?
It is a little, yeah.
So what are like the other options there? I guess I could have just like really stayed in Connecticut.
No,
but,
you
like,
tell Hillary the deal and say, this is the deal. And then I would think that the two of you tell the friend, Julio's plans changed. He needs to sleep here. He's happy to sleep on the couch. To which she would probably say, no, are you kidding? I'll sleep on the couch. Solve.
So I don't feel that good about that.
How much?
Because I don't think that she would have agreed to sleep on the couch if she knew that I was going to be home to begin with, which I don't think is fair. I think that puts her in a precarious position potentially. And our couch, while quite nice, it's like an oval. It's like a circle. So it's not like super sleepable.
Oh, mm-hmm.
It can be done.
She needs to sleep in spoon.
No, it can be done, but it's not, there's no like straight shot on it.
No, right.
And
right.
you can take a nap on it, but like, I don't know. So I didn't want to put her in that position. I didn't want to boot her. Now, we could have maybe put her in a hotel. I could have paid for her hotel, but that's like not as special. You know
I
what I
see
mean?
what you mean.
They
Well, and
wanted to
also that is weird. That's weird.
They
'Cause
wanted
she
to
would
have a
be like,
boys' night.
What?
They wanted to have a boys' night.
Yeah,
you know?
sure. Yeah.
Hanging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, it was sort of like a hilarious situation, but stayed in a hotel, got a good rate.
Wow. That's amazing. That's very generous of you. I'm
Is-
not
is
so
it?
sure that I would that this would happen in my world.
It would be insane to me to pull the alpha male veto.
No, it's
It
not
feels
the
like-
it's not the alpha male veto. It's this is my home. This is where I live.
My home
And
that I've subleased.
You didn't sublease
I
it.
agreed.
You opened a door for someone to stay there without specifying probably where they would stay. Was it known to her?
That I was going to be gone and that she was going to sleep in the bed.
I suppose that once you being gone is the operative placeholder there, where if that changes, then things change.
But at 10 p.m. that night, they're probably in the bed already.
I would bet you
They're probably eating snacks in the bed
You
already.
didn't. The plan didn't change until 10 p.m.
10 p.m. that night.
Yeah.
Right, Ryan? I think it was official. It was pretty much official, maybe a little earlier,
It was
but
Facebook official around 10.
yeah. That was good. That was good.
I would bet you that if this young lady found out that what you had done, she would be mortified.
100%.
Yeah.
But I don't want to put her in that position.
I want her to know.
And I don't feel bad. I don't feel a way about it at all, bro. I love this girl.
I know. You don't mind, inhaling her hair strands off your pillow.
Even if I didn't love her, I would have still done it the same way, I think,
Yeah.
ultimately. I don't know.
I had a little bit of a. Is that enough of a rendering of a verdict on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that I handled it perfectly. I was just curious if there was like things I wasn't thinking about. I stand by my
I don't think
decision.
that there is.
Yeah.
I don't think you. I guess based on your.
That did not feel like an abrupt transition at all.
Okay.
Yeah. I know that feeling.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh God, did I just not give him enough of my attention?
No.
How dare I?
Yes, I wasn't sure if you were done on that time.
Yeah. I know, bro. I know the feeling. I was fully done, and I mean it. No, but I know what that's like. Or even like every once in a while, like Francis will like say something funny, and he'll be laughing about it. They're laughing about it. I've heard it, and I'm moving on, and then I'm like, oh, I didn't give that enough. I didn't give that enough. I'm gonna go home and be really stressed out for 12 hours.
There it is, our neuroticism. Okay, let me tell you this. I was out on the highway coming back into the Holland Tunnel, and there was a line of traffic. And the second it formed, cars started dipping into the shoulder. And I said, okay, here we go. Here we go again. I gotta walk the walk if I'm gonna talk the talk. I'm the guy that stops this behavior. I gotta
Timothy.
put the hat back on. Yeah. And so I edged out into the shoulder, and instantly a number of cars that were intending to, by the way, I watched probably 4 cars get to the traffic and just immediately say no. And I think that's
like veer off.
No, they said, I'm not waiting. I'm gonna run the shoulder until the end and then cut in. And I think that's an important footnote in this, because people always say, well, what if it's an emergency? And it's very hard to watch so many cars because they were cabs. They were cabs. They were Ubers that had the Uber sign in the back. It's so hard to watch a number of cars do this and still think, oh, they all have emergencies. Or maybe one of them has an emergency. It's very apparent that these cars are doing this not because they have an emergency.
Because they're bastards.
But because they're just assholes.
Yeah.
They are non-participating members of the social contract.
Bastards.
And so I did my thing, and I was filming myself. Not today. They didn't account for me. Guy behind me is laying into the horn, and he's driving a Kia. Kia seems to be the official car of people that don't want to drive by the rules.
Seems to be the official car of a little bitch.
Yeah, that's it. It's people in Kias who just use the shoulder constantly. And I say that because I blogged a couple weeks ago about a video on World Star where there was a guy who veered into the shoulder and just cut everyone and said, not today, fuck y'all's problems. I'm not dealing with this. And he was driving a Kia, and everyone made fun of him for driving a Kia. But anyway, the guy behind me driving a Kia, leaning on his horn, I'm filming myself, and he does this thing where I'm edged out, and he comes back into the regular lane, and then comes abreast of me. So now we are driving.
How is he able to do that?
Because there was enough room, because I was halfway out, that he could come up.
So, but why wouldn't he be able to continue going by you at that point if he's right next to you?
Because there's a truck in front of me.
Wow.
So now he and I are
So
driving.
then why would he be upset though? If there's a truck in front of you, why would he care if he can't go past you?
Because he could have gone past me. There was no one else blocking the shoulder. I'm blocking the shoulder.
Oh, so he came up on the left.
He came up on my left.
Okay. Sorry.
He came up on my left. And for the sake of the video, I rolled my window down. And I didn't really know what I wanted to say to this guy. I didn't know what sort of temperature he was operating at.
And that's the thing. Somebody who's just immediately bolting for the shoulder has a little bit of fucking cojones to begin with.
Uh-huh.
So you could be dealing with a wild card.
Yeah. And he lowers his window. And I don't know why I did this. This was a mistake. But I said, hey, I'm a comedian. I just try to make funny videos doing this. Almost.
Is this video out yet?
I have it on my phone, and I haven't posted it, and I don't know that I want to.
Oh, okay.
And he goes, oh, you're a comedian, all right. You're having a grand old time. And I was like, yeah, and he goes, what if I had an emergency? What if I had somewhere to be? And I go, it kind of felt like you didn't. And he goes, okay, how can you tell? And then I said, well, if you really had an emergency, I feel like you would have been waving your arms.
You would have gotten out and
You
been
might have
like,
gotten out of the car
like,
to
"Hey, I'm
tell
sorry."
me.
Right.
And he goes, that's not your call to make. And then he pulled out his phone and started talking over it and filming me.
Oh, nice.
And he was like, you got these Maine license plates. What are you doing fucking up traffic in New Jersey? And I was like, well, I just haven't had them changed yet. And he goes, well, why don't I make a couple of calls about that? That's illegal. And I go, no, it's not. I have a window that has not expired yet in which I'm allowed to do this. And he goes, just admit it. You met your match today.
Oh.
You thought you could be a troll, but you met an even bigger troll. And I was like, okay. And I wanted it to be over. So I was like, you
I
go
don't
ahead.
agree. You did not get got there.
No, I didn't think I got because ultimately, if my goal was to stop this guy from cutting all traffic, I did that.
And he also didn't have a good zinger for you.
No, he didn't. He didn't.
This is reminding me of the energy of Ryan stealing the alcohol guy.
Yeah.
He clearly didn't steal the alcohol. Yes, he did. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, you clearly didn't troll Francis. Oh, what about your license plates? They're legal. You met your match today, dude.
I know.
That's fucking insane.
He thought that by like turning it on me and filming me too, that he was participating in his own game.
Which is kind of awesome. I hope that one goes viral.
Bro, that's what I've been looking for.
Too.
I have not been sleeping well.
Why? Does it make you look bad?
Who knows?
Hmm.
This guy seemed to think so. I don't think that anybody, you can manipulate anything. It could be, the guy could be like, my wife was in labor in the hospital, TikTok voice. My wife was in labor in the hospital.
Oh, right.
And this clown from Maine with illegal license plates stopped me from getting
yeah.
to her.
Yeah.
What the fuck, man?
Right.
Just lie.
Right.
But he clearly didn't. I mean, look, and let me tell you something. People invoke that. It's crazy how quickly people go to the what if I had an emergency thing. I think that if you use that as a lie excuse for why you're in the shoulder when you don't actually, you're doing more harm to that cause than
Big
me
time.
stopping people from doing it.
Big time.
Because you are discrediting that as a valid reason to use the shoulder.
Let me ask you this. Was there a pileup of cars trying to get by you?
Yeah, but they were all cabs and Ubers.
Yeah. Classic.
Just all people who don't fucking care.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And then we had this weird thing at the end where I think he realized that I wasn't putting up a fight and I just was like trying to diffuse. And we got to the point where I had to kind of come back in now and he was blocking me. And I said something like, well, anyway, you go ahead. You've bested me today. Because he was ahead of me now. And he goes, I don't even want this win. You go.
So now you're both kind of like,
We're both like letting each
backing
other
down.
go courteously, but in a kind of passive aggressive way.
you're like, dude, do you want to hang out sometime?
I wasn't far from that, but I couldn't get over the fact that this guy was the embodiment of all the delusional trolls that take issue with what I have done here, which is that he was invoking in real time the emergency excuse when he didn't have one.
Mm-hmm.
He did not have one.
Mm-hmm.
He effectively admitted to me, I don't have an emergency. He then later told me he was late for work or something like
left
that.
Earlier.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's not my problem. We're all late for something going back into the city.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We didn't account for this traffic. It sucks for all of us. And yes, if your wife were in labor or you were trying to rush to the hospital, we would all get out of the fucking way.
Yeah.
And there would be a way for you to convey that to us.
Yeah.
But clearly, you're now calling wolf on a situation. You're calling emergency, and when you don't have one, and admitting you don't have one, which to me just further cements me in my position that the vast majority of people who use the shoulder to cut do not, in fact, have an emergency.
Dude, it's funny to me that you were able to maintain this sort of like level of politeness during all this. It reminds me of like a movie. where like people will be like in this tense moment and he's like, take a seat, and he like pours him a drink, but like then he kills him or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's rare to encounter that in real life, I feel.
I'm
impressed. You're
I'm
good
a
at
strange
that.
person where I think in a lot of ways I behave in a way that elicits confrontation, but once the confrontation happens, I don't necessarily want to escalate.
Yeah, you're well equipped for it to
Well,
kind of like
I don't even want to be in it.
yeah, you don't get particularly emotional, which is good. Or maybe you're being emotional within, but you don't have like a violent rage
Yeah,
outburst.
I'm not getting more and more angry. I was thinking about how I could have handled that in a way that would have been better. And I think playing out that philosophical game with him of did you have an emergency?
Yeah.
And getting him to admit that he didn't, and then explaining exactly what we've just said, which is you're discrediting the use of the shoulder lane as an emergency lane. By the way, for what it's worth, there are signs galore saying do not drive in the shoulder.
Mm.
Do not drive. It's illegal. And I recognize the eyelash of hypocrisy of me edging out to prevent people from driving in the shoulder by effectively driving in the shoulder myself. I recognize that. But again, it is illegal and they're not policing it, and it is affecting me. It is affecting me directly by adding time to let all these people cut.
Yeah, I don't understand why they're not putting cameras there and giving people tickets instead of going 32 miles an hour in New York City or in the bus lane and getting a ticket in the mail.
I get so many of those.
It's fucking bullshit.
School zones that you don't know you're in a school zone.
Yeah, it's really
and all of a
fucked
sudden
up.
you're going 5 over and you get a $50 fine.
They're assaulting the art of driving in New York. They are. There's all these like weird laws now about like driving uptown. Like they're gonna add some kind of fee to that. I don't know. Whatever.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
Yeah. But anyway, dude, I was enjoying a delicious Hangobie.
Oh, you do that.
Hangobie.
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 Hangobie or not Hangobie?
Please. Hangobie, por favor.
Yeah.
Dude, the Hangobie, what a great gift to life. You be in the fridge sometimes. I'm like, oh, what do I want?
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired. And I just see that calm sitting there, dude, on a hungover weekend. Nothing goes down cleaner than a Hangobie calm.
It helps the nerves. It does. It's got that effervescent, buoyant quality that also soothes and serves as a tonic.
Yeah.
To the racing, fretful mind.
And it's delicious. It's actually good, and you can tell that it just ain't bad for you.
That's it.
Which is a good thing, dude.
I've never had one and thought, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. Gotta reel it in.
It's pretty good, and there is utility too. The wake peps you up. The calm calms you down. The essential is just good for keeping you nice, streamlined, lube.
See my hand? It's not even shaking.
It's pretty good. You see that?
That's the essential.
Recommend pouring it over a big ice cube. And since it's the European clay court season, wake up early in the morning, crack yourself a Hangobie, watch Tsitsipas play. What a beautiful backhand.
Tsitsipas.
Tsitsipas.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good tennis, a lot of good Hangobie, a lot of good activity, and a lot of good beverage sipping.
Yeah. Sip away when you go to hangobie.com. Use promo code Oops I'm Hung. No apostrophe. That'll get you 30% off, you goose.
And if you want to have a lot of fun, crack a Hangobie, barely, and then hold it to your girlfriend's clavicle and watch as it slowly travels down her chest into her belly button. You hold your tongue out, and a tiny little drop might get on her tongue if you pour the proper amount. It's a challenge. It's difficult, but only the best can do it.
On earth? Where did that come from?
All right, go to hangobie.com. Use promo code Oops I'm Hung for 30% off your order. That's hangobie.com. Oops I'm Hung, 30% off your order. They're really taking the world by storm. Hundreds of stores. If you see one in the shop, say you love it. Hangobie. I told you guys about the day where I was just like, about the iPad guy at the doctor. I told you guys about all that, right?
No.
The doctor's
more?
office. Then I...
Why don't you just tell the story?
No, because it's too long. It's not long, but like I called the lady man. Did I tell you this? Did I not tell you guys this?
Maybe. I don't think you did, dude.
Oh, someone called you a lady.
I thought someone called you ma'am.
No, I called somebody man instead of ma'am. And then I kept calling her ma'am. I'm pretty sure I told this.
No, you told a story about how someone kept
the other
calling
way.
you ma'am.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I'll
Is
start.
that a different story?
Yeah.
Or did
Okay.
okay.
Dude, I've been becoming more confrontational in public. Hill Dog has mentioned it to me. One morning before like 9:30 a.m., I did more damage than I've done in the previous 5 years.
Wow.
And none of it was bad, but like I was like, what the fuck are you thinking, dude? You need to go home and stop me if I've told you this already, because I would have told it recently. But I'm at the doctor's office. There's nobody in there. There's a guy setting up an iPad so that you can like check in.
Mm-hmm.
And the iPad keeps falling. And at some point, I was like, "Oh, it's nice and it's not too busy yet." And they're like, "Yeah, nice and early in the morning, huh?" And I said, first out of nowhere, I don't know why I said this, but I said to the guy, "I'm like, yeah, I guess it's a good time to be dropping things." And I was like,
Oh golly.
"Why would I say that?" I'm like, and then I'm like, "Okay, whatever." And then I was like, "There's no way for me to like make this better, so I'm just not going to do anything." Then the person behind the desk, a woman, hands me a piece of paper, and I go, "Thanks, man." And I'm like, "What?" So then I just started calling her ma'am over and over and over and over again to make
her
it seem
think
like,
that you had
in
ma'amed
fact,
her.
said ma'am, and she got it wrong, right? Then, dude, I go to the Amazon Go store. I hear a guy trying to figure out something without trying to sound old and just sounding old in the process. So he goes into the Amazon Go store and he starts asking the guy a question. He goes, "Is this the Amazon store?" And the guy goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "Do you sell goods here?" And he's like, "Goods? What do you mean, do we sell goods?" "Well, I don't know. It's a grab and go store. Goods?" And he's like, "Well, like Kindle." He was like, No. And we actually closed all our brick and mortar store here. We just have food. Basically, shuts the guy down. And I'm like, "Oh, I'm embarrassed for that guy. He was with his wife. He's trying to be in control." So I get up and I go, "Hey man, I overheard your conversation." I was like, "I think there's a Staples nearby and they definitely sell they sell Kindle products there." And he goes, "Oh wow, look at that. A nosy New Yorker getting in other people's business."
Whoa! He said that?
Yes. And then he goes, "But if this time it was helpful." So, and I go, "Why would you say that like that, dude? I was just helping you." And then he's like, "Well, I don't know. I just thought," I was like, "I don't know. I was doing something nice, and then you're sort of like attacking me. I'm sorry. It was pretty hard not to overhear what was happening there. It was like I have an unprecedented thing around here at the Go." Anyway, I'm like, now I'm just fighting with this guy. I'm like, this is crazy, dude. And it's 9 a.m. at this point. I then get to my apartment, and they're like, "Oh, you have some packages." And for some reason, I just go, "What'd she buy this time?" And I'm like, dude, get me out of here. Get me out of here. And I get home and I start telling Hillary this. She's like, "If you finish this story, I'm jumping off the balcony." So just stop where you're at. And I'm like, dude, what is this trail that I'm blazing? This is in one day, dude.
I know what it is.
What is it?
It's that it was all too early.
Yeah?
Look, some people's brains don't work in the morning, and I've had days like that where
Dude.
just the way your systems have not booted up yet, and you're not operating in your normal human kind of courteous level.
Yeah, I guess not.
Would
Dude.
be my guess.
I guess not.
There are days like that where you feel like no matter what you do, you're just getting it wrong at every turn.
And like
It's scary.
yeah, I'm just not used to operating in that way.
Yeah.
Where I'm like causing problems or changing the course of people's days in this way that's like, dude, this is.
I can't believe you, one, thought you had told us that story, and two, didn't want to tell us that story because it was too long.
No. If I had already told it.
Oh,
It wasn't too
Good,
long.
Good.
But if I had told it already recently, because it happened recently.
I'm trying to think. I mean, the guy barking back at you or trying to make a joke about nosy New Yorkers is, to me, the real outlier of that story.
Yeah, I wonder. He was probably just embarrassed. He was with his wife. He was from out of town. He's old.
Right.
That's my thought.
Right. He thought, well, I didn't defend myself against the Amazon Go guy, and now here's a chance for me to regain my pride.
The Amazon Go guy was a huge dick, but it's wild to see like a sympathetic figures fall from grace. Like this old man went from this like vulnerable, guy who needed help to a dick
Mm-hmm.
very quickly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Just wanted to show he was in control of the situation.
Yeah. No good deed. No good deed.
Yeah. Dude, I had another good one in public.
Great.
Another good in public thing. So the girl who stayed at our apartment, right? I was going to meet her and Hill Dog for lunch on Saturday. And I'm walking, and as I walk, I'm walking down the street, and I see this little table of like Peruvian goods. There's like little, whatever, symbols, whatever. And then there's little stuffed animals. There's an alpaca, and then there's this little wolf.
Mm-hmm.
And there's rows of them, and I'm just staring at them, thinking, well, Hill Dog might not like this because we already have stuffed animals who we've personified in the apartment. We don't need to add to that. And she also doesn't like clutter, but maybe her friend would like it. Maybe her friend would like one of these. So I'm sitting there staring at it. And I'm like, all right, whatever. I can't find the guy. So I decide to walk away. And as I'm walking away, I see somebody who I know. We make eye contact. And I'm wondering, I'm like, did he see me staring at the alpacas? Was that weird? And I'm not sure. And and I see him and he nods at me and he goes, what's up? I'm like, nothing, man. I was like, I'm going to see you at this party tonight, right? He goes, yeah. He goes, man, pretty cool alpaca table, huh? Browsing the alpacas. I'm like, I start getting into the story with him, dude. I see him at the party. The next day, his girlfriend texts me in the morning. I'm sort of like weirded out by that. And this is the text she sent. She sent me a picture of an alpaca table, presumably in the same area, saying, Phoenix told me to send you this, LOL. I'm like, God damn it, dude. I went from being the wet bandit to the alpaca bandit, dude.
Is that guy's name really Phoenix?
Yeah, it's a sick name.
Is his first name?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He's
That's
a cool
pretty
dude.
cool.
He's
Yeah.
a cool dude.
That's cool.
Well, guys, thank you. That email last episode was pretty funny, so we figured we'd keep it rolling here.
Hell yeah. Give me an email.
This one's called A Quandary on Terrible House Guests.
Ooh, I think this is right for us.
This is right for us. This is sort of dense, but it's good. I'm in a bit of a quandary here and thought you might appreciate weighing in. This past weekend, I hosted a weekend party at my parents' house in Colorado. My parents live there full time and were present the whole weekend. I had an old friend who I've known for 20 years, my best man. Sorry, those are separate people. Friend for 20 years, best man, two of my college roommates, my wife's coworker, and her husband, who I'm also friends with. Through the weekend, 3 nights, 4 days, my wife and I made breakfast, packed lunches for skiing, and dinner every single night. As soon as we were done making breakfast, everyone would serve themselves, eat, scamper off to get ready to ski, while my wife and I cleaned up. For lunch, everyone just grabbed sandwiches and snacks, stuffed them in pockets, but left my wife and I to clean the sandwich station. For dinner, we had 1 night where we ordered food, and 2 where my wife and I cooked for 90 minutes or more. While we were cooking, everyone else was in the hot tub, showered, took naps. After those extravagant dinners, we were sitting at the table for 20 minutes before I got up and did all the dishes.
Oh my God.
My parents were furious but didn't say anything because they didn't want to upset me or my friends. I feel very unappreciated and almost used by my close friends. They did nothing to contribute at all to the weekend. At the end of the weekend, my mom asked everyone to strip their beds and bring their sheets to the laundry room, where she labeled replacement sheets for everyone to put on their beds. My best man, wife's coworker, and husband, and my college roommates brought the sheets up and left them on the floor. I just brought them up. Yeah, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Left them on the floor.
They did what was asked.
No, it
They
sounds
didn't
like
put it on
they
the
didn't.
bed.
They didn't. Yeah. So okay. At the
Oh,
end
they
of the
brought
weekend,
the replacement sheets up, but they did not put them on the beds. They didn't remake the beds.
Yeah, that was confusing me too. Let me revisit that real quick. Mom asked everyone to strip their beds and bring their sheets to the laundry room, where she labeled replacement sheets for everyone to put on their beds. My best man, wife's coworker, husband, my college, brought the sheets up and left them on the floor. I don't fully get it, but let's just assume that
It could mean that brought the dirty sheets up and left them on the floor of the laundry room, which is what I would have thought they had done. Find out if they did the
Okay.
right
No.
thing.
This is what they did. They brought the replacement sheets up to the bedrooms, and instead of making the bed or putting them on the bed, they put them on the floor.
Yeah.
They put the new sheets on the floor.
Right.
I was appalled. To add to the frustration, everyone offered to help clean up, but only after I was finishing up the last dishes. They would all watch me closely and not do anything. My wife is upset, but I am livid. At the end of the weekend, I asked everyone to Venmo me for food and booze, and everybody did almost immediately, which was nice. I did mention to them how frustrated I was that they didn't contribute, and their collective response was that They got my parents a gift card for their favorite restaurant for hosting. From here, do you think it's wrong if I tell these people that they're not welcome back unless they participate in the chores? Is it something I should let blow over and speak up for more next time? Should I let them know now that I'm still pretty upset? Where does this sit in your mind?
This is I mean, I'm with this guy.
Yeah.
I'm with this guy. I do not have friends who play the game this way.
Yeah.
I really don't. You know, I'm very lucky, I guess, in that my friends are not the type of people who, when we cook a big dinner, they're going to sit idly by and watch us start working on the dishes and then come in at halftime and finish it. Sierra and I are very proactive cleaners.
You've talked about this before. This is one of your pillars of life.
We are
You
proactive.
hit the dishes. You hit them.
We
hit them.
If we're at someone else's house for a dinner party and people are done, we will get up without saying anything, clear the plates, and then if the hosts are like, let us do it, you don't know where things go, we fight them.
Yeah. Yeah.
We fight them about it.
You have to fight.
We're like, fuck that. We're doing this. And we like doing it. We're efficient. We're a good team at cleaning. We know, we're thorough. We're not new to doing dishes the right way, and we get it done. And we have friends who do the same thing for us.
Yeah.
And it's really nice when you've worked your ass off to prepare a meal for a lot of people, which is a ton of fucking work.
Mm-hmm.
It's really nice to watch someone else who you trust restore your kitchen to the proper condition.
Yeah. That's a nice thing. And agreed. Like there is a world where like we'll have people over or whatever and they try to clean up and we're like, no. You know what I mean? Like, and we don't feel any certain way about it. I mean, but agreed. It is a nice thing. And in this situation, this is pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I get the like, it is interesting too though, because they all think because they got gift cards and they Venmo'd that they don't need to do anything. Which is wrong.
That's insane.
But I wonder what should he do now? Cause like this is from a few months ago. So I don't know how helpful this is going to be at this point, but how quickly do you need to address it if you're going to address it? Or do you just remember forever and never invite them again? Like,
I think you don't invite these people again. I think that they blew their audition as guests.
But these are like all the most important people in this guy's life.
I get that, but it's like, sorry,
sucks.
dude, you made the wrong fucking friends. And it's doubly, if not triply worse because his parents were there and it was his parents' house.
And they were upset. Everybody was upset.
Bro, if someone else's parents, I have a very, very dear friend who has a house in Colorado, and we go out there typically once a year, and it's his parents' house, and they're often there. And these people are so generous. And if they were to tell me to strip the beds, bring the sheets to the laundry, and then put the new sheets back on the bed, the idea that I would think, I'm not going to do that, but instead, I've got this Barnes & Noble gift card, which they will put to use.
Okay, so I'm not going to do that. But dude, that's funny. Oh
the idea that to me would be an adequate substitution for the directive they gave me. What planet are you on? You are basically asking to be thought poorly of as a guest.
Yeah.
With that level of disrespect.
Yeah.
That's nuts, bro. From a fucking parent when it's their home and you've gone to Colorado and not had to pay for a hotel room and you've been sleeping comfortably in your own bed thanks to this buddy of yours' parents' house.
Yeah.
That's madness.
Yeah, that's madness.
That's madness.
That's madness.
So I think that this guy is well within his rights to just say either, look, I'll still be their friends, but I'm not inviting them out to Colorado ever again.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's wrong to say that.
Yeah.
And unless they sort of issue a collective apology and say, we really dropped the ball. I don't know why we didn't follow the sort of commands and respects of the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they've blown it there.
Yeah, agreed.
That's nuts.
Yeah, bad.
Did he say in that he asked them to help or no?
He said that he didn't say that he did necessarily, but that they would offer like in a really convenient time for them, and that they were just like making a mess constantly and not cleaning up after themselves. It sounded like adequately.
And do we get the age?
It sounded like around our age to me.
Okay, there's one caveat here, and that is maybe these people have houses too and will invite him and his wife or girlfriend out, and they will expect to clean and cook the way that he did. And maybe that is their
Yeah.
quid pro quo.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't believe that should be the way. I don't think it should be that when you visit someone's home, you get to be on vacation because you know that you'll do the same thing for them when they visit you.
Uh-huh.
It's perfectly fine. You're still being a great host, even if your guests help you clean.
Yeah.
You can get help from guests and not ruin their time.
And I also think that like you can not go above and beyond and still be a good guest.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, don't be extra messy. Don't be disrespectful. Don't be inconsiderate. Do something when they tell you.
Mm-hmm.
You're in a decent spot there. You should get up and clean. You should get up. But like, there is a scenario where you're like, can I help? And they're like, no. And then that person ends up getting mad at you. That is a scenario that does exist.
Mhm.
It doesn't sound like this is the case here.
Right.
It sounds like they made too many violations to even have a praying chance here.
I think so. It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's
bad.
crazy to me.
Bad.
Yeah.
By the way, this guy ripped like 77 flights last year.
Jesus.
He threw that on the bottom of the
Christ.
email. Yeah, guy's a legend.
That's crazy for
Um,
him.
cool. All right. Anything else?
No.
Do a
Maybe
little-
some facts with Ryan. Facts with
little
Ryan.
FWR.
Facts with Ryan.
The X-Files is known for its sci-fi storylines, but every so often it reaches out a toe and dips it squarely into the horror genre. So that's true.
Yeah,
Not
love
that
it.
we doubted you, but Blake Reed's blue chip lacrosse Twitter account hasn't seen
No,
any activity.
Jake Reed's?
Blake Reed's.
Well, that's not it. That sounds like a parody account. Jake Reed's.
Oh wait, no, 1 second. Let me
Jake
confirm
Reed.
this. Maybe I typed it wrong.
Jake Reed.
I typed it wrong. Jake Reed. Jake Reed's blue chip lacrosse Twitter account hasn't seen any activity since November 19th, 2016.
Yeah, I think he was
Shut it
taken
down.
off of the camp board or something like that, but it was his camp.
No tweets, 2,349 days. Billy Biter, or is it Bitter?
Bitter. Yeah.
Billy Bitter played in the National League Lacrosse from 2011 to 2013, splitting time between the Charlotte Hounds and the Denver Outlaws.
Cool.
Alpacas live up to 15 to 20 years.
Very nice, Ryan.
And I just want to point out, going on the road with Julio, he's 2 for 2 on being a courteous aux cord gentleman. First time was when we were doing the move and you played Bad Bunny. Second time we get in the car, we don't really say anything about the music, but you put on some Lil Yachty, and though you didn't acknowledge anything, I noticed and I appreciated that.
Oh,
It
that's
made me feel
good.
very comfortable.
Oh, thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
That's
Ryan
so
and
nice.
I ride in silence
That's so nice, Ryan.
ever since the failure with Lil Yachty.
What do you got coming up?
Let's see. Guys, me and Little Sasquatch, you know the deal. We are at Charlestown Races, the Hollywood Casino in West Virginia on May 12th. I hope you guys will come to that. I've also got a couple fun new dates as well. I'm coming out to Seattle. I'll be at Tacoma Comedy Club on July 18th, I think. And then I'll be at Spokane Comedy Club on the next day, July 19th. I think it's those days. Tickets for all that will be up soon at francisellis.com. Can't wait to see you guys. And how about you, Julio?
May 17th, Stress Factory, New Jersey. May 25th, Laugh Boston. And also check out Bupkis today
Wow.
on Peacock.
Hell yeah.
It's a great show. I'm in it briefly, but I think memorably. And, support Pete. He's a great guy. And he really takes care of a lot of people and really cares about us. I consider myself part of that group, but he's created an entire ecosystem for people to succeed and have opportunities. So I appreciate him for that. And I think you'll like the show. So check it out.
Cool. Awesome.